future-proof yourself with skills employers need. So that's what we are going to discuss. So before we begin, we'd like to introduce us first. So because this presentation is me and my colleague Eileen is going to do the co-presenting, I will introduce myself. My name is Byung. I'm a career strategist. So I'm working with Eileen and Wei and Rebecca and Derek. All we are the same team. So we are going to help students to meet one-on-one or in the group session to help your career search. Eileen?
Yeah, so hi everyone. Already met you guys hopefully yesterday. So my name is Elin Chan. I'm one of the career counselor at the Academic Advising and Career Center. And today Beyond and I are really, excited to talk to you about skills, kind of preparing yourself for the future.
Okay, so let's begin. So first of all, there is a captioning is available. So please turn on your caption subtitle if you want to see all those details in reading. So also, I mentioned that, but this session will be recorded. Romeo, are we recording? Yes, it is recording right now. So that's great. So let's get going. So let's take a look at things that we are going to cover today. So first of all, challenges that we are facing in the industry right now. Well, COVID-19 is just one of them, but there are a lot of other challenges we are anticipating because currently the labor market is highly unpredictable. So when there are challenges, there are opportunities. So we are going to take a look at those challenges and opportunities. And during that time, there are many new skills emerged. And also we need to know what kind of skills are something we need to pay attention. And then where are we gonna get these skills, which is very important question. So once you get this skill, then you need to demonstrate your ability of handling these skills. So that's another thing we're going to discuss. And we are going to talk a little bit about future at the end. Okay. So let's start with a question. So I like to ask you a very simple question, which is, what is the most critical thing for employers to consider when they hire new employees? So I'm going to just open up this poll on the screen so you can take a look. So please just take a look at these 4 choices and select just one of them. Which one do you think employers think is very critical when they're hiring a new employees? So it looks like this. So you guys voting, education is 23%, and experience 46%, technical skill 8%, people skill 23%. I think you guys are pretty right, except one thing. Because I actually do have a survey report that I read it, a few different reports. And then averagely, generally speaking, they consider experience is really important. And actually, you guys are very close to the what the survey said. They said around 40 to 42%, they actually consider experience is the most important part. So you guys are very close. However, the next one will actually just disappear from my screen, sorry. Okay. And the next one you're indicating is almost similar to education and people skill. But let me tell you, what the employer said is education is not that important for them. That doesn't mean education itself is not important for them. It's more likely they think you have a good education. They don't need to care too much because they already said what degree required, what diploma required, and you fulfill, that's good enough. So they only said 5% or less employers indicating, education is something very important, okay? But the most important thing beside experience they actually indicating is actually people skills. Yeah, you guys right, 23% you said, but then employers said 28%, and technical skill is right after that. So it's around like 23%. So take a look, do the math. Experience is close to 40 to 50%, and technical skills and people skills put together, that's over 50%. Education is less than 10%. So it seems like skills are more important than experience in overall. So employers really interested in knowing what kind of skills you can offer to them. That's what the employer's perspective. Okay, I'm gonna stop share this result. And let's move on to the next question. So my next question is, what are the skills that employers need? Okay, I'd like to open up this chat box. So please write down any skills that you think, yeah, these are the skills probably employers like to see from my resume. Can you just type something? Anything is possible. It could be people skill, it could be technical skill, it could be any general skills. Please type just any one of them. So I'm just looking at a chat box right now. Communication skill, absolutely. Computer skills, soft skills, strong oral and written communication skill, communication, interpersonal. Okay, anything else? Problem solving, creativity, analytical, presentation, adaptability, teamwork, flexibility. Sounds very good. Because I'm going to share some of those skills that is really demand later on. But I really want you to think about it. These are the skills probably, yes. Well, to be honest, communication skill is definitely important things. And almost every job description you're reading, you will see certain type of communication skills is required. It seems very cliche because, well, of course, we need to speak with my team members and all those things. So communication skill is important. But there is a reason why actually they're emphasizing these communication skills. And there are many different ways of demonstrating your communication skills as well. So thanks for sharing all those skills. And let's just go back to our slide and keep thinking about what skills that we need to learn more. So Eileen, back to you. So Eileen is continue on discussion about the challenges.
Yeah, thank you, Byung. So what are some of the challenges that we can expect? I think I already talked a little bit about this yesterday, but essentially we now are kind of in a world that, you know, there's very few jobs for life, right? Again, it's now the norm that people change careers, change jobs, change employers every 3 to 5 years. So with every change you make, there may be new skills you need to pick up or new skills you need to have to be competitive for the new jobs or careers that you're applying to. We have also faced numerous disruptions, right? But these disruptions are also not new. But every time there is a disruption, again, it kind of suggests the need to develop new skills, new technology, environments also changing constantly. Again, a very, immediate example we can all think of is right now with the pandemic. COVID has really changed, our use of technology, the environment we work in. So just even that as an example, but we're all, again, developing skills to, deal with these changes. We all are now becoming Zoom experts, right? We're all learning to be really resilient in terms of a transferable skill. So with these disruptions, we're all developing new skills. And one of the most important skills that I think all the articles that Byung and I came across about developing skills for the future and increasing your employability is your capacity to learn. A lot of employers that I have interaction with, they often talk about, your ability to learn, your willingness to learn as one of the most important qualities or most important skills that they're looking for in their future employee. Sometimes people or employers will also refer to that almost as whether or not you're teachable, right? Do you have the ability to learn? The employers are willing to teach, but again, your ability to learn is also really important as we face changes in the future. So with these changes, what opportunities can we also expect? Okay, so again, I kind of already touched upon a lot of these. There are nowadays with societal changes, with demographic changes, some of the new employability skills and demand include cultural competency, empathy, ethical decision-making, interpersonal skills, especially in, stressful situation, and your ability to create trust or to build trust with one another is now also, a skill that often is sought after. So if that's something you're very strong at, you certainly want to highlight that in your job application. And some of your skills that will, allow you to be future-proofed is, again, your ability to seek information, to make sense of the information that you're finding, right? Yes, we often talk about, oh, just Google the information. But again, not everybody is making great use of the information they're finding on Google and then explaining it or interpreting that information. So again, I would say that's a really important skill to have. And of course, your ability to recognize opportunities, to make decisions, and to be able to explain your thought process and why you make those decisions. These are all really important capabilities to have. And Byung?
Top 5. So the skills companies need most in 2020, LinkedIn actually has this big data. They always come up with this kind of a skill set that is demanded by the employers yearly. They didn't come up with the 2021, so I'm just using 2020, which is pretty close to this year. So take a look at this soft skill, which is people skills. The top 5 is creativity, persuasion, collaboration, adaptability, and emotional intelligence. So emotional intelligence is just one of those new top. Previously, it wasn't. The meaning, and then this emotional intelligence is keep on going as strongly. So this emotional intelligence is getting more demanded by the employers. So that the one that Kay mentioned, skills to manage your heart, is actually emotional intelligence, interestingly. So think about it. These are the skills that employers think, yeah, it is very important to have it from their employees. Let's look at the hard skill, which is a technical skills, right? Blockchain was something really like a big topic and hot topic for the past couple of years and this year. Cloud computing, analytical reasoning, artificial intelligence, which is pretty sounds too big, but it's getting more common in any industry these days. It's not just IT industry, finance, marketing, all these different area, they're actually using these kind of technology. You don't have to be an expert, but knowing something about it is probably a benefit for you. UX design, user experience, business analysis, which is very traditional skills, but still very strong. Affiliate marketing, any type of marketing skill, sales, scientific computing, and video production. Media skills is very important. Sales is something really traditional. I actually had a chance to talk with one of the recruiters who's actually doing recruiting for the TD and CIBC, all those banks. And his goal is hiring this young professional going into this financial field, regardless their the academic training. So I asked him, so what do you need from my student? And he said, do they have any sales experience? Because if he found that their candidate has a sales experience, immediately that's a good impression for any employers in the bank or finance industry. Because sales experience means you know how to communicate with the people. So proving any retail, let's say you had a retail experience before, then that's such a great experience you can actually adding on. So do not underestimate any experience that you have it, because you can actually demonstrate these kind of hard skills as well. So basically speaking, these are the skills in the top level. Let's get into a little bit more about the Canadian market. So 2019, actually, they do have this specific data about Canadian skill set. So what the LinkedIn found out is these are the skills in Canada really fastest growing. So means it's actually emerging and getting more demanded by the employers. So let's take a look. Python, very common. Right now, there are lots of those courses actually demand asking the students to take a Python courses to be knowledgeable about data analysis. HTML for any simple web design and web updating, C++, little bit hardcore for the computer programming, SQL, MySQL, all those database, market research, of course, data analysis. Any sort of data analysis are required in many different industries. Financial accounting, which is a little bit about the finance, Java, JavaScript, again, that is more website area, machine learning, social media marketing, another marketing, digital marketing, MATLAB, if you actually had any science experience and you actually know how to do the MATLAB, that's another good things. AutoCAD, customer relation management, which is pretty popular a platform that you can use when you are working for those big retail or sales or customer service area. And again, the sales is popping up. Human resource is another great topics. So you can just have some ideas what Canadian employers are really prepared to see from their candidates. You can actually dig into a little bit more if you're Googling it, but I'm just sharing these to give some idea. So let's begin with that. So one thing that I like to tell you is there are so many skills out there. How am I supposed to know all these skills? So what is the best way to finding out this skill before we getting into this one? Can you identify one or two things that, yeah, this is the best way to find what skills are really needed from employers? Can you put it in the chat box, one or two? What's the way to find out? I don't see anything yet. Okay, okay. Nabib, you got the right answer, job description. Of course, look at more job postings. Another person said networking, labor market info, they are all good, absolutely. Networking is another great things because if you know the target area, you talk to the person who's working there and they can tell you too. But I think the easiest way to find these skills are from your job posting. If you read those job postings more and more, you will get familiar with all those job skills, requirements this industry is currently asking for. And what better way to find these kind of skill set? They are not just asking you MS Office, okay? They're asking you many, many different tiny little bit skills here and there. So unless we actually reading those job description, we won't be able to know all these good skills. Once you identify those skills, don't be afraid. Some of skills, for example, machine learning, I actually never major in anything like that, so I don't know, right? Of course, but think again. The major is not the only way to learn these skills. So we're gonna introduce something different. So you can learn the extra skills from your minors or maybe continuing education or possibly from your internship experience. But easier way these days is online education, online trainings, also known as MOOC. MOOC stands for what? Massive Open Online Courses. It's massive. The courses they are offering is so diverse. And it's totally open to anyone. You don't have to have a degree to get into this program or anything. And it's online. And many of them actually free to access. You don't even have to pay anything. You just access and take a look at all those courses. If you don't like it, you just drop it out. If you like it, continue. Sometimes they say, okay, if you want a certificate, pay something. Not much. It's probably as little as $5, $10 to up to a few $100s. Way cheaper than actual your tuition you're paying. So today we are really going to focus more about this online education because this is the way the employers asking you to adding those additional skills on top of your formal education and formal experience. So we're gonna go detail about each of these online education platforms that we have. Okay, so let's go into it. Elaine, back to you.
Yeah, so by a show of raising your hand or typing in the chat, how many of you have heard of Coursera? Or unmuting your mic, whatever is easy for you. We have a fairly small group, so I think it's okay if you want to unmute your mic. Okay, so couple of thumbs up, people raising their hands, awesome. Okay, so I think if you do a quick Google search of MOOCs, Coursera will probably come up at the top, along with edX, which I will talk about next. So these two platforms have probably been along the longest and probably offers the most choice. So Coursera indeed is known for choice. They have courses in different disciplines, in English and social science, all the way to engineering, possibly anything you want to learn more about. I would say you can probably find a course that's currently being offered on Coursera. And all the courses are also offered by faculty at actual universities. So if you haven't had a look, if you want to open up another browser and put in Coursera, and I would encourage you to take a moment and take a look at it. Okay. And the reality is also, I think Beyond first started doing this presentation maybe a couple of years ago. And back then, I would say maybe Coursera wasn't as accepted by employers or wasn't as recognized by employer. But these days, a lot of employer they actually value Coursera courses if you have taken them. So certainly, you can put it on your resume. If you choose to pay for the certificate, you can also have the certificate displayed on your LinkedIn. We will talk a little bit about that in a little bit. Okay, so again, on Coursera, I took a look right before the session, lots of free choices. So again, like Beyond mentioned, most courses you can start for free. Some of them, you can essentially audit the course. So you can, watch all the lectures, listen to all the lectures, and you don't have to pay anything. But if you actually, for example, want to do the assignments and get feedback from the faculty or from the instructors, and if you want to be recognized for completing the assignment and completing the course, and you want some kind of credential or certificate, usually at that point, the platform is going to ask you to pay. And again, sometimes you can pay per certificate, like you can finish something and then pay for the certificate, where Coursera now also kind of have a membership where they call it Coursera Plus. So you can join, I think I looked it up, it's about $500 for the year. And then during that year, you can take as many courses as you want. You can get as many certificates as you want in that year, okay? But it is about $500. So I would say don't necessarily make that commitment right away. You might want to try out a few courses and then decide if this is something you want to do, okay? And a lot of institutions also do offer financial aid options. So you can also take a look at the individual courses and see if there's a financial aid option button related to the course offered by the institution. And I noticed that a lot of the courses also have some career outcome in terms of, you taking that course. So for example, if you decide to take a data science course, I think they survey the students who complete the course to see, first of all, did the course help them in advancing their career, or did the course help them in landing a job in the field that they intended to go into. So you can also use some of those preliminary data or stats from Coursera to maybe help you make some informed decisions. So again, I think some popular courses include data science, a lot of the technical programming, Python, Java, right? But I do think there are also a lot of courses that are just increasing your general knowledge. One of the most popular courses is actually from the University of Alberta on Indigenous Canada. So I actually have seen a lot of students take that course. So if you're looking to continue learning once you wrap up your undergrad, maybe you can also consider that course. There is also a psychological first aid offered by Johns Hopkins University. It's also a popular free course to check out. So if you're looking for ideas, maybe check those out. And edX, of course, is the other one. edX, again, is very well known. Traditionally, I think when it first started, it was considered to be more technical versus Coursera had more courses in the humanities and the social science. edX had most courses in math, science, engineering, because they're also initially featuring MIT, more technical schools. But I think recently they have also kind of made their course offering more diverse. I also noticed now they have language courses, they have humanity courses, they also have social science courses too. I think they're maybe also trying to compete with Coursera in terms of their diverse course offering. So similar idea, you can sign up for all the courses and start them for free. But again, once you want a certification, or if you want to be able to communicate with the instructor and get feedback, or have the opportunity to actually work on different assignments and projects to practice your skills and knowledge. And at that point, again, there's usually a fee. So one course I looked at, I believe it was $185 to essentially have the full course experience. And again, edX has a great reputation in the technical fields, and they are really well recognized by industry leaders. Byung, did you have anything else to add?
Yes, sure. I actually have a couple of things I'd like to add, because for example, edX is pretty good. For a few years ago, I actually look at any resume that I never seen anyone actually putting anything about edX or Coursera's credential. But last year and this year, I'm looking at lots of students' resume and they actually putting in it. And then I recognize it. It is actually well recognized by the industry too. Meaning Coursera and edX, they actually have a good trust by the industry right now. I think the main reason is because all those famous universities, including Harvard, MIT, Oxford, okay, one of those top university, they're offering courses. And who's offering? It's not just one of those their student. No, it's their faculty members are offering. So where can you get these kind of valuable, education almost free? I said almost. So I'm gonna give you one example. edX, I actually took one course, and this one was from the UBC, University of British Columbia, right? A big competitor of U of T, by the way. But I took the course, which is Aboriginal education, which I was very much interested in knowing about that. And it is very 6-week course that very intensive. I have to have assignment to submit it every week. So I actually completed. How much was it? Free. However, if I want to have a certificate with their seal on it, signature by the dean, and downloading it, I have to pay. Guess how much it was? $25 US. Sorry, it's not Canadian, US. So $25 US. So that's all I need to pay after 6 weeks of education and get the seal. And the seal was official seal by the UBC with a stamp on it, and then there is a signature by the dean of that education department. So it's totally official. And you could actually have an option at the end. You complete it and they say, would you like to share your edX certificate on your LinkedIn profile? Yeah, click it and then put your LinkedIn password, and immediately they pop up in your LinkedIn profile as a certificate. So everything is so official. They can actually click it and see it. So it's very trustworthy of this kind of education.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I'd like to share with you by edX things.
Yeah, when I look at,
sorry, go ahead.
When I looked at Coursera just now, I think they have actually built in that integration with LinkedIn. So you can actually just click on the course that you completed and say, share it with LinkedIn. And then you log in with your LinkedIn account, and it's a fairly seamless transition. The other thing I also just want to mention about these courses is that a lot of them are self-paced. So that means you can kind of take it at your own pace. You know, if you are a night owl and you do your best learning at midnight, you can start this course at midnight if you wish. If you're not, you know, if you're a morning person and you're up at 6 and looking for something productive to do, you might want to watch the lecture at 6 o'clock in the morning, right? If that's when you have to do your best learning. So again, most of these courses, when you're looking at browsing their catalog, they will typically tell you what kind of commitment it requires. They will say, you know, requires 20 to 30 hours of work, or it will tell you requires 50 to 60 hours a week. And then again, you can complete that within the month, within the semester, within the year, right? So it kind of really gives you a lot of flexibility. The other thing about, I haven't, to be completely honest, I did not look at edX as closely, but I think Coursera is also now doing a great job featuring training from employers. So you may have heard that Google right now has a bunch of career certificates that they're offering through Coursera. And I believe Microsoft and Apple are now also offering certificates to give you training in terms of, you know, creating an Android app, or working with Microsoft Azure, or, you know, doing Google project management. So again, if you're looking for really specific, particular career job training, lots of great options out there right now.
Yep, absolutely. So the Google actually offering many different courses in many different platforms. And then I think from 2019, they start offering Google certificate from Coursera. It actually taking 6 months to complete. So it's not just like a very short-term one, but it is actually very popular. One of the most popular one among the Coursera courses, because it's a Google. And then Google actually hiring people, whoever completed, not just hiring, but then they actually see that certificate is actually good enough for Google to see them as a qualified candidate, not just computer science graduate. So there are lots of good things going on in this kind of platform. So I'm gonna introduce some extra things, because Coursera and edX definitely the top two. I must say top two, because they do have all those recognition by the famous institutions. So their professors are involved, but also the industry really like it. But there are many more. So the rest of them is such a good platform too. So there's something called udemy.com and udacity.com, which has similarity because they are both very technical oriented. So meaning a lot of courses they are offering is actually IT driven. However, they do offering a lot of non-IT things too. One thing different these two from the Coursera is they are very bite-sized, much shorter, and is offered through the individual freelancers rather than those big institutions. So it's it's more informal than formal, and it's very easy to catch up. And so, for example, Udacity, they actually do have a lot of those bite-sized certificate program by all the social media company like Facebook and GitHub, and of course Google too, Microsoft as well. So those are the two of these platforms. The other one is a Khan Academy, which is actually the founding ground of all these MOOC. Khan is the person who founded this Khan Academy, and he actually invented this because he wanted to tutor his nephew and niece back home in India. I believe he's from India, and he was in America. So that's how he actually invented this, and then he make this things. Oh, okay, it works. So I'm gonna offer to other kids, other teenagers, other students. So Khan Academy has a slightly different angle. They actually offering courses a little bit more high school and elementary school, those area. But for the university student, they actually offering lots of academical courses like math, English, grammar, and also lots of preparation for those standardized tests like SAT, SAT, MCAT, GMAT, all those very high demanding courses you could actually practice through the Khan Academy. So slightly different angle, but definitely great platform.
Yeah, Khan Academy is definitely the best free test prep you can get if you're thinking about applying to law school, applying to business school, applying to medical school.
Yeah,
sure.
Almost free. Sometimes you have to pay, but to be honest, compared to all those online, some private school, really nothing. And LinkedIn Learning, that's another huge platform right now because LinkedIn is purchased by what? Microsoft, right? Since they purchased by Microsoft, they actually make it LinkedIn Learning looks like a really big platform. But LinkedIn Learning is different than Coursera and edX. They actually are a little more similar to Udemy and Udacity, like lots of bite size. So it's easy to complete those certificate. And of course, it's LinkedIn Learning. So whenever you complete it, it's almost automatic. You go into your LinkedIn profile, make it as a very shiny looking certificate there. And one thing about LinkedIn Learning is they actually had a contract with the Ontario government for the past few years. So it was free for the post-secondary education students until last year. Sorry, it's not free anymore. However, there are ways you could actually find these free means like you actually have to pay a premium account or each courses. It's actually not that cheap. Like it's more expensive than your Netflix or Amazon Prime TV subscription. So you have to sacrifice those in order to get this LinkedIn Learning, but there are options right now. One of the options is going through your U of T alumni. So if you are graduating this year in June, you are eligible. The U of T alumni has this contract with the LinkedIn Learning and say, okay, April 20 to August 19, 4 months. If you're alumni, come to this website and register, and you are able to access LinkedIn Learning, unlimited access. You can get every certificate for free, but it's 4 months, okay? So you are graduating. I actually send the email to confirm if the student is graduating now, can they? And they said, yes, they should be okay. So just go to this website and then register for it. However, if you think, I don't think I can do everything right now, I have too much things going on, probably in July I will be able to do it, then you are only going to have a less than 2 months access, right? So the alumni office suggests me, if that is the case, wait until August, because it's kind of secret, because it's not really publicly known yet. And they said they're gonna have another 4 months of contract starting from August. So, but you cannot do the twice. They said only one per year, one per alumni. So if you sign up right now, your contract will be over by August 19. But if you sign up in August, then from August to probably November, you will have the brand new contract by then. So it's totally up to you. But if you have time right now, just go for it. It's available right away. And yes, somebody mentioned about Toronto Public Library. Thank you very much. Yes, it is true. Toronto Public Library, if you have an account, you should be able to have access to LinkedIn Learning as well. And any local library, if they actually have a separate contract with their LinkedIn Learning, probably you should be able to get that too. Thank you for sharing that. Another things that I like to share with you is, as an alumni, you have access to our continuing education with $550 credit on it. So you could take a look at this U of T School of Continuing Education, Continuing Studies. There are a lot of courses. What's the difference? Because this is a real courses from U of T, right? It's no different than your full-time credit courses, but of course it's not gonna count as your full-time credit courses, but it's as formal as those courses. So if you prepare that kind of courses, but it costs you quite a bit of money, but you have this $550 credit, and if you like to use it, maybe take the one course and see it. If you like, you can continue taking some extra courses. That's another benefit being an alumni of the U of T. So you can actually go to this is from the website. So just go to learn.utoronto.ca. You will see the alumni benefit. Then you will see this whole description.
So I would just add in something that might make the school continuing studies a little bit different than some of the MOOCs we talked about, is that it would provide you with a bit more structure. A lot of the courses, not all, because I only looked at a few, but a lot of the courses you meet, for example, every Tuesday at 5 o'clock from 5 to 7, right? So it still provides you with that kind of structure, and you're meeting over Zoom. So it's a little bit, it feels a little bit like more personal rather than you just watching a lecture online.
Yep, definitely. Okay. So another angle that we have to look at it is, so now you got this skill. Okay, you identify the skill, you actually learn about it, you got the certificate, then what? What am I gonna do? There is a really something that you have to work on it to make sure that employers actually notify your skills. So a lot of people actually, in our previous session, the Derek was doing about the resume, right? And there are so many things you can actually put it on your resume. Now, under your education, there's a U of T in it. You're going to graduate soon, so you're gonna put your degree in it. So that's an official and that's a formal, which is great. But you can definitely add these additional certificate and training that you received it. So I'm just showing you as a one sample. I just intentionally put these certificate on it. So let's take a look at it. So right under education and training. So I just put the and training because I don't want to make it look like everything is degree, right? So there's a degree, but the extra training. So there are honors Bachelor of Science. You can include the GPA or relevant courses, is totally optional. But then I put this one, Health Informatics Specialization. This is an actual course available from Coursera, but this is actually specialized certification, which means you have to complete a few courses to achieve this certificate. So this is not just easy going, like a couple of weeks you could done. So the format that I like to suggest to you, a lot of students ask me, what's the way I can put it on my resume? Title of the certification and bracket certificate of achievement. That is official because it's not a degree, it's not a diploma, but certificate of achievement is the right way to use it. And this title, this certificate from where? You have to mention Johns Hopkins University because that's what they offering. The professors from Johns Hopkins University offering this course, comma, offers through coursera.org. So indicating clearly where you get this. Industry leaders, they are not really care too much if it's from Coursera or it's from edX, if from anyone else. If they see it, the title is something relevant, and also, it's from Johns Hopkins. Okay, Johns Hopkins is not going to give you some easygoing courses. They're definitely going to give you certain standard, right? Certain level of courses. So they immediately catch that. And you could definitely mention when to when you complete it. And you could possibly mention what courses you completed to get this in the healthcare industry. So this person actually put including the data science of health informatics. Sounds like something very important these days. So intentionally put that line on it. So there are many different ways to demonstrate your skills, but I just put this one. And again, there's another certificate you can put it. This time, this is not just technical skills. Remember emotional intelligence? And this is something you could actually demonstrate about you trying to learn and improve yourself to be more sensible about this emotional intelligence by taking this course. And this course is from UC Davis University of California, which is another great university, offers through Coursera, completed 4 courses, including this. It's giving them, see, this is a keyword too. Emotional intelligence, resilience, critical thinking, all those great competencies you can demonstrate through your education. When you're actually going through HR or ATS, these are the keywords you could utilize it. Remember the ATS and all those keywords? So you have to come up with these keywords based on your facts, based on your history. So this is the way to demonstrate your keywords. And there's another certificate I just added, just additionally, it's another famous university, Harvard. So you can put it there. So these are the sample that I just want to give you some heads up. This is the way you can make your resume shine with your online education. Okay, let's continue that. Do we have any question? Well, you already answered it? Okay, great. All right, back to you, Eileen.
Thank you. So we also just want to spend the last few minutes talking about the future, right? So it kind of helped me and beyond to think about maybe our life or our careers after COVID. So there are a few reports out there kind of predicting how things are going to be after COVID, and some of the key trends that we all learned about or we all read about is that there's a lot of things suggesting that there may be permanent working from home. And we think some of the implication or what that means for us is that, again, we need to develop better self-management skills, right? And that skill also suggests, being able to create work-life balance for ourselves and having a heavier focus on mental health. So again, we see mental health as an emerging field. There's also a lot of concern, rightfully so, about our climate, right? So again, some emerging field to do with that would be disaster management, focus on green careers, focus on innovation. So again, if you're, really passionate, if, climate is one of those issues that you want to work towards resolving, also consider some of these things as emerging fields to consider. Another thing that's influenced by societal factor is, of course, the social injustice that we all face right now. And so the need and the rise of reconciliation and social justice, and emergent fields being, competency and cross-cultural communication, anti-racism training, EDI training. So again, these are all fields that if you are competent in these areas and feel you can offer, these are all great area. So again, this morning, the keynote speaker talked about giving, right? These possibly are some things that, you can give. But if these are also area where you're hoping to grow, again, take a look at Coursera, take a look at edX, lots of training available. And of course, technology is not going away anytime soon. Instead, I think COVID has really kind of sped up the development of technology and the use of AI. So again, there are probably going to be continued growth of technology, so impacting advanced manufacturing with automation and robotics. But another interesting aspect that's developing is also the ethics having to do with the use of technology and the need for policy around these things. So again, that's an interesting area that's also growing. And again, kind of already mentioned with the focus on mental health, again, there seems to be a shift. And I'm really glad to see this shift on the focus of well-being. So again, emerging fields being mindfulness, mental health support, fitness, and again, being quite restricted in terms of ability to travel. Local tourism is another area that's also growing in terms of thinking about the future labor market. So just a few things that, we kind of read about in reports, and some of the things that, maybe to help you think about your future post-COVID. So now, again, we would like to try a poll with you guys. So wondering about what you guys are thinking. So if we can ask you to use a scale of 1 to 5, how excited are you by the prospect of working from home in the future? So if you can put in your answer, I'm just curious to see what you guys are feeling. And to answer Kane's question in the chat, I agree with Anastasia. A lot of the Coursera and EduX courses are quite formal, especially the paid option. There are often assignments you have to complete. So you do get feedback and you do get a grade for your assignment. I don't think they necessarily assign you a grade on the certificate of achievement, but you do get feedback on your assignments, at least the ones that I have completed. Okay, so it's good to see a lot of people extremely excited to do some additional learning. So we do hope you will check some of the things out that we talked about today.
Okay, so before we ending, I'm gonna give you a little bit of those reminder. So there are certain formula for career success that I can just simply say that this is something that I actually always keep in mind is education. Absolutely. I know there are some people think, okay, so MOC going to replace our formal education. I don't know. For now, no, pretty much not. Because when you look at those job postings, they clearly say, oh, degree required, diploma required. All those things is still very minimum default requirements. So I don't believe the formal education going anywhere, you know, to be gone in any time soon. So, but in any major. So remember the archive yesterday, she was mentioning it. There's no way that you can just stick with the major that you are actually continuing on it. Unless you're going to be a PhD, then yes, you're going to continue go on your major and all those things. But in the job market, any major could do anything. So that's education. But you really need to know what demanding skills are out there. And if you know that skills out there and you don't have it, then you should definitely finding out and then getting into it. So we mentioned about lots of certificate, but don't get fooled by the name of the certificate. Certificate is just the name. So what employers really care is, do you know how to do it, right? So learn it, but then you demonstrate it, but you really need to actually know how to do it. Okay, that's one. People skill is definitely important. As you can tell, it's more important than technical skill by employer's perspective. And how are we gonna learn? To be honest, not just from the book or online education. There are options you can learn these people skills from online education, but that is a beginning. You really need to make an action. So you actually have to experiencing it. You don't have to have an internship or a paid job. Sometimes volunteer experiences definitely demonstrate your people skills, and even more so than actually paid job. So consider, if you don't have experience, consider volunteering it, and that's how you're gonna gain these people skills. And plus, you're never going to stop studying. Not actually study like a U of T, those credit courses, okay? That's really tough, but there are many courses. That's why bite-sized certification is just giving you a motivation to continue studying rather than block you saying, okay, this is difficult, don't even try if you are not going to complete it. That's not the concept these days online education. These days online education concept is come and take a look at it and then try it. And this is a simple, easy. You don't have to scare of learning these new skills. That's lifelong learning, and that's why this industry actually really recognizing these kind of micro credentials that are available. So all put it together, that's how you're gonna make your career successful. All right, the last slide I just want to simply share is be a transformer. Means you shouldn't be afraid of changing. You shouldn't be afraid of adapting new things. Make yourself being two different, ability at the same time. That's the way we're gonna survive in this industry. We have just 1 or 2 minutes. Probably it's 3 o'clock. So, is there any questions that we need to answer, Eileen?
Yeah, Beyond, King has a good question, and I don't know if there's an exact answer, but he's wondering what percentage of your time outside of work did you spend on extra learning? Do you have any advice on achieving work-life balance?
I think that's a really good question, right? I would just share my experience. because I was doing my full-time job as a career strategist, and then I noticed there is this online education. I want to try, first of all, and I actually like that topic. And I knew this is a 6 weeks because they said so, 6 weeks. I didn't know how much work I have to do it. It wasn't as tough as I thought. So I was doing it like probably 30 minutes to an hour every day to just catching up. So like less than an hour. But if you are in the middle of your semester, I don't recommend you to spend too much time on it. But right now is a good time. You just finish your final. And they don't actually have those. I mean, the course that I took, it has a timeline, from this month to 6 weeks. But most of those online courses, they don't actually giving you that set timeline. So you can start anytime. As I remember that Eileen, you mentioned about it, right? So whenever you have a free time, try it. It's fun. I say it's fun because it is fun. Because there are a lot of those bite-sized courses, maybe start doing it, but more formal courses like those from Coursera and edX, probably you wanna take a look at their curriculum. First of all, they do have a full curriculum, and you can tell, oh, it might take some time to complete it. And don't rush it, because a lot of those continuing education people taking probably 6 months to over a year, which is totally fine. I mean, if you complete any certificate within a year, that's very successful in many cases. That's kind of my opinion about this.
Yeah. And I share my experience in the chat, but for those of you who didn't get a chance to read it, I said, I really think it depends from person to person, also depends on other demands you have in your life. So when I first started out in my career, I was very lucky. I didn't have any family responsibilities. So I was able to take one course per semester. And I think I did that also, not only to learn, but it was also still part of my career exploration. I took courses in HR. I took courses on instructional design. I took courses in web development and realized I'm not very good at any of those things. So that was also my way of learning about myself still through, courses. Yeah.